Certainly it might be bedtime for you, okay? But I want to ask you this question before you go to bed tonight. Let me ask you this in all honesty. I want to leave you with something which might make you a little bit uncomfortable. If nothing changes in your habits, your discipline, your money decisions, will next Monday look any different from the last 5 years? I want you to be honest, not with me, but just with yourself. Because most people don't really hate Monday, in all fairness. Most people don't hate Monday. What most people hate is the life they are returning to. And certainly tomorrow morning, millions will wake up hoping for a change without making a single decision tonight to try to make sure that tomorrow and the week is different. So before Monday comes, before the emails, before the payroll cycle, before the routine swallows you again, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. I want to make sure you have something that you can leverage, which can help start driving a change forward, right? Start moving you even before all the different things that are going to be putting you under pressure comes forward. Let's talk about the 5 decisions that will determine whether you repeat your life or you start redesigning it. You know why? Because Sunday night is not for emotions, right? Sunday night is not emotional. Sunday night is actually strategic. You don't need another motivational quote for me. You don't need another inspirational quote from me or from other people. What you really need are decisions and decisions that you really want to keep and stick with. I want you to understand that these decisions come along with faith. Because Sunday is a day that, for those who are Christians like me, you know it's a day for rest, right? It's a day where we rejuvenate, we go to church, we communion, and we try to rebuild our spirit. But on Sunday night, getting into the new week, the number one thing you need are decisions. Because faith gives you direction, but discipline builds structure. And all of this runs on decisions you make. So, no hype today, no BS, no trying to impress anybody, but just working with you on those 5 decisions. Those 5 decisions that really are going to help you this week to drive you forward. But you know what? Before we get into those decisions, I want to invite somebody just for a few minutes to join us. And this person actually is no other than a young lady. She's a high schooler. She happens to be my second daughter. But the reason I'm bringing her on is not just because she's my daughter. It's because this young lady has been able to manage schooling, band activities, athletics activities. She's the president of a class. She's involved with the class with the student representative council, and she's still able to excel in all of those things. And one of the things I notice, especially on Sundays with her, she spends time preparing her week. She'll prepare her food for the week, she'll prepare her school stuff for the week, and then in the evening, she'll start doing activities, listening to things, settling her spirit, and getting her mind ready for the week. So I said, let me just bring her on for a few minutes. Join me, welcome. Mase Haman Achu. Mase, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm good.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you on the show today. And just for a few minutes before I continue with talking about today, I will be talking about the decisions that we need to make getting into the new week, which can give us an edge in the new week, right? But I'm always very impressed by the number of things you are able to handle, and not only handle but handle excellently well in the different facets. You are not only a student, but you are a class president. You are part of your athletics team. You assist the coaching team in soccer. You are part of the what do you call lifting team or something. You
Powerlifting.
actually, exactly, you are also part of the, I think, the student council. In all of this, you still perform well in school. How have you been able to organize yourself? And tell me exactly how your Sunday routine looks like.
Well, Sunday morning is usually when I prep all my food in the morning so that I can like rest throughout the day. So I prep food in the morning, and then usually coaches will post our schedules for the week. And then teachers, if there's anything that needed to be done over the weekend, they'll post it. So I'll use Sunday around between like 2 and 5, and I'll finish any assignments that I need to finish, and then I'll go in my notes app and I'll write down like what I have each day. Because if you play multiple sports, you have morning practice and afternoon practice. But sometimes there'll be a day where I have afternoon practice and I have a game. So on that day, I'll mark down that I have a game and that I need to email my coach and tell them that I'm gonna miss the day. And so it just helps to write down and plan out the whole week so that it's not like, oh wow, I have four things every single day. Instead, I know what I'm going to every single day and what I'm doing every single day and who I have to talk to. And then it also makes sure that I finished all my assignments that need to be turned in on Monday.
That's wonderful to know. I mean, and I know on Sundays too, we go to church. That there's no question about that, right? I
Yes.
want you to talk a little bit. How has faith and the fact that you go to church, you communion on Sundays, how has that been able to help put you in the right frame of mind, and how has that been able to also impact your week positively?
Um, I feel like, well, a lot of people say that Sunday is the last day of the week, but I think that Sunday is the first day of the week.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, in order to have a good second day, which would be Monday, since it's the first day of the work week, you need to have a good Sunday. And if you start off your Sunday, you wake up, you get ready, you go to church, you see all your friends, and then you spend time with Jesus, and then you come back and you prep your week. It just gives you like a nice clean slate to work with for the rest of the week.
Wonderful. And during the week, how is your schedule like from dawn to
It's
dusk?
It's honestly, it's really busy, but I think as long as I get a lot of people like during class will get classwork, and since our classes are so long, you would just be like, okay, I'll do half the work during class and half of it after school. But usually I don't really have time after school because if I get back at 5:50, I would rather like spend time on my phone or eat something or read than have to do homework. So I try to get all my schoolwork done during class, and then I'm like I have track at 6:15 in the morning, and I end either powerlifting or we have a game at 5:45. And so on nights like that, I try to really get everything done during the school day so that when I get home from practice, I can just shower and then I can spend time on my own doing what I like to do instead of having to do homework.
Wonderful. And one of the interesting things is that you are always very for most people, Sunday nights they feel depressed, they feel kind of down, they feel kind of unhappy that they're starting the week again or work or school or that kind of thing, right? But you always look happy, you look joyful on Sunday evenings, which is not typical for most people. Can you talk to me about two or three important decisions that you make on Sunday that affects the outcome of your week?
Well, the first thing is that if something like I did last week that I didn't like, or like, say, for example, all of last week I was getting home and I was like going to bed at like 11, I would tell myself, well, this week I'm going to try to be in bed by 9:30. Or if I was just having problems getting everything arranged, I would make sure Sunday I get my schedule in check. And I just feel like you need to refresh everything on Sunday and you need to look back on your previous week in order to fix your new upcoming week so you can be happy and look forward to it. And like, if this happens to a lot of people, they say they're going to do their work on Sunday and then it's Sunday, it's 9:45 and you're tired, but you haven't done your homework that's due on Monday first period. And some people say, oh, I'm just going to wake up and do it before I get on the bus. But a lot of people, they don't get on the bus because they have sports in the morning. And you don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. so you can do homework before your early sport. So if you just finish your homework in the middle of the day, then you have from 4 to whenever you go to bed to be on your phone. But if you wait until the last second, then you're not going to do it. And it's just going to create more stress to not have it done.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm glad you were able to come on and talk to us a little bit. So I'm happy also the fact that you try to get yourself organized because today I'll be talking about the five key decisions for the week, right? And this is not only decisions that is applicable to it's applicable certainly not only to adults, but even to young people like you, because just like you've said, Planning, organizing, and projecting your week is very powerful. Someone say, man, I want to thank you for stopping by, young lady. I appreciate you. I know you want to go prepare for the rest of your week. I wish you great luck during this week. And I'll see you again. Thank you for stopping by.
Of course.
Any final words?
Um, Good luck with everybody's week. And
Awesome.
make sure
Awesome.
that you are very happy and you don't let Monday be a bad day, and instead you make Monday be a good day.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Take care. I'll talk to you later.
Of course.
Wonderful. So here we go. I just wanted to bring that perspective too, right? To give you a certain, not only an idea, but to also just help give you some framing as to why the 5 decisions I'll be talking about are important, not only for your week, for your month, for your life, and for the next many years. Because you have to understand that even though work is an integral and important part of your life, but life doesn't start and end only with work. While you're working, you have to also ask yourself some key questions that are important to certain things that builds your life in the bigger sense of it. The first thing, the first decision you want to make, who am I becoming this week? And this hinges on the whole concept of purpose, right? Who am I becoming? Not what are you doing? Who are you becoming? Because you have to understand work is an integral part of our life, and you spend a good chunk of your life working. And so, what that means is that subconsciously influences how you're becoming, what you're becoming, and what you aspire to be. So, one of the key decisions you have to make, and one of the key questions you have to ask yourself getting into this new week, which is something that aligns and is going to set the stage for what you really aspire for in terms of your purpose, is what are you becoming? That is even more important than what you're doing. Because when you're asking yourself, what am I becoming? You are slowly asking yourself, are all the things I am doing aligned with what maybe my gifts are, with what I aspire to become, with what the financial future of my life is that I'm planning, with building wealth, with all these things that you've decided and designed as part of your goal, right? You also will start being able to honestly determine if you are becoming reactive instead of being proactive. If you're going to be one of those who will wait till the last minute when the whole world has adopted AI and you are late to the game, if you are becoming distracted instead of focused, if you are becoming disciplined and intentional instead of being all over the place. Because one of the things you would notice as you go forward in life is that you can't do too many things at once. Otherwise, you'll be a jack of all trades and master of none. Another thing you will realize very quickly is that it is not important spending time to improve on your weaknesses. It is more important to spend the majority of your time to make what you are good at to become great at, because that is what is going to move the needle. You have to understand this entire concept is what really drives identity, because what you are becoming is already a big piece of your identity. What are you becoming? Are you becoming more disciplined or more distracted? Are you becoming more intentional or just somebody who goes by this flare of the wind? Are you becoming more long-term thinking or are you short-term driven? Are you becoming more focused on building the financial life you're planning for, or the family life, or the personal life you're planning for? All of these things are important, and it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens from week to week and day to day. And most of the times, when you're getting into the new week, like you are getting this week, it is important to already have some of those questions asked, because it forces you to look at yourself from an honest perspective. And of course, if you feel like dropping your answer in the comment section, please feel free to do that. If you're joining me, let me know where you're joining me from, what part of the world you're watching from at this time, right? Because I love interaction. A lot of my programs and my live streams is more of not only information, but strategies and implementable steps you can implement and transform your life. You see, I need you to understand that information is available everywhere. What is difficult to come by is actionable strategies that can help transform your life. Most human beings are looking for transformation. They're not only looking for information. If it's only information, you can get the information everywhere. But the key thing is having that information synthesized in a way that gives you tips and strategies that you can implement to transform yourself. That is where I focus around. That is why I do this, right? The second big decision you want to make, you want to decide what you are no longer going to tolerate going forward about your life. Whether it's screen time, studies are indicating that an average adult in America today spends upwards of, I think, 4 to 5 hours every day on their phones in front of screens. Do you know how much time that takes away from your productive life? Now, if you distribute a human being's time, a human being generally spends 8 hours sleeping, another 8 to 9 hours working, right? Well, technically, you're supposed to spend 8 hours sleeping, but hey, most people don't really spend 8 hours sleeping. But when you think about your work, the time to drive to work, drive, come back, get ready, all of that, you average about 9 to 10 hours work related. Right, then let's say you sleep another 6 hours, that's already 16 hours. So you have only 8 hours left in that day. And that 8 hours is the 8 hours now that you have to do all the other productive things in your life. And if in those 8 hours you spend another 4 hours of those 8 hours scrolling through your phone or doing things that are not necessarily tied to the goal, aspirations, and desires of your life, you can really imagine how much time you're left now to work on yourself. Because, like I always say, you can never out earn your personal development. You can never earn more than what you perceive in your mind and what you believe in yourself and how you prepared yourself to be of that value, right? Everything you earn is the value the marketplace perceives you to be. You must understand that. So the second key decision, as I said, is deciding what you're no longer going to tolerate. Are you going to continue overspending, spending more than you earn? Are you going to continue living life without investing in assets, knowing that assets is what is going to give you the leverage, build wealth for you, and give you the capacity to become one of those who bequeath a legacy for their children tomorrow? Are you going to be the same person who keeps talking negative talks to themselves? Are you going to stop? Are you going to continue to denigrate your own self? Are you going to continue to feed your mind only with information that pushes you towards a negative direction? Information that tends to tell you that the world is getting terrible, that there is no hope, and things like that? Are you going to be one who is going to spend hours in front of the TV knowing fully well that most of the information you get from the news today is very negative? You wake up in the morning, you turn on BBC, CNBC, CNN, all those channels. The first thing you see, somebody got killed, a police officer maimed this, there is war here, the Israel-Palestinian war, there is famine in Africa, all these things. And you don't realize it, but it wires your mind and sets the tone of your day. So tonight, of course, I don't only want to talk about the power of investing and building wealth and some of those challenges, but I also want to prepare your mind and your spirit, not only for the week, but for your legacy. Because when you start thinking long term and you start thinking about things like your legacy, you realize that this week is important. The way you plan to start Monday, moving to Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is part of what that legacy is. Because you would agree with me that a lot of times we don't realize how fast life goes. I look at my kids. I look at my second daughter who just came off the interview a few minutes ago. I still remember when she was born. She's already 16 years old. At that time, I had a lot of hair for sure. I was much, much younger than this, about 25 to 30 pounds lighter. Right? So you want to decide this week what you no longer want to tolerate in your life, in your own personal things, right? What are the things you are investing in? What are the assets you've been investing in? Are they the assets that can keep you long term? Or are you just going by what people tell you everywhere? Are you deciding that you're going to stop being a complainer and start being a fixer? Because you know what? The world is full of complainers. The world is full of people who can tell you what all the problems are. You know what the world really needs nowadays? The world needs people who want to fix problems. The world needs people like you who are big thinkers and who decide that, you know what? I want to fix things. And in order for me to fix things, I want to first start by fixing myself. And these are conscious decisions you make. These are not decisions you make lightly. And so when you're getting into the week, the second most important thing you want to do is to tell yourself the things you no longer can tolerate. Because when you tell yourself that, what it does, it starts shedding away the baggage. It starts shedding away the things that don't serve you, don't serve your destiny, don't serve your purpose, and don't serve your financial life, your wealth building life, and it doesn't serve your legacy. You need to understand that it's important. Almost every couple of months, I go through my account to check if I have any kind of subscriptions that don't serve me. Because subscription services is just like life. These are things we subscribe to, right? We subscribe to different channels, to different things, to different social media things. At some point, you might need them. But after a while, you don't need them. But you leave the subscription, and the subscription keeps costing you money every month. If you don't go back to review those, you will not know that those subscriptions are costing you money. Life is like that. Maybe at a certain season in your life, you subscribe to a certain mindset, you subscribe to a certain way of life, you subscribe to a certain way of investing in not only yourself, you subscribe to a certain lifestyle that was not aligned with your purpose and your legacy. You have to review yourself. And when you ask this important question, what am I no longer willing to tolerate? Then you start identifying those things that you subscribe to. Maybe it doesn't serve you anymore. Now, I'm not saying go cut all your friends off. That's not what I'm suggesting, right? But I'm saying that when you ask this question, then you start looking at these things honestly. You start really going deep into it and start asking yourself the important questions that needs to be asked. And those questions is what generally leads you to destinations that aligns with what you're trying to do. Let's talk about the third thing. And this one is very important because this is directly tied to how things will work out for you, not only now, but in the later times of your life. I say it all the time, the world is cruel to poor people. Does it feel good? No. Is it the most humane thing? No. Is it nice? No, but that's the reality. That's why I talk a lot about investing, because you must prepare, you must plan, you must plant the seeds that will germinate, grow, and multiply. So the third important decision for coming into the next week, decide where your money goes first. A lot of people pay themselves first. The concept of paying yourself first is probably one of the most important financial concepts in humanity. It is very simple, but it is not easy. Simple in the sense that it is understandable. It doesn't need a degree to understand that. Even a young child who just started understanding anything can understand that. Understand me paying yourself first means prioritizing yourself financially, which means before you pay your mortgages, before you pay your car note, before you pay all these other bills, you want to make sure you pay yourself first. And paying yourself first means what? Paying yourself first means taking care of your future self while you are younger. Paying yourself first means investing in retirement accounts. Paying yourself first means investing in your Roth IRA. Paying yourself first means making sure the first dollars of your paycheck goes straight into investments that will take care of your older self. And that will take care of not only your older self, but your younger self as you live, because you're going to be spending that money too as you get along in life, right? So you want to make sure that before Monday hits, your money must have instructions. The challenge with a lot of people is that their money doesn't have instructions. And because it doesn't have instructions, it is not automated. And because it is not automated, you are counting on your human will. And the human will always fail. That's why automation is one of the greatest hacks when it comes to financial advancement and building wealth. If you don't automate it, it will not happen. Automation is easy. Automation is simple, but it's not easy. A lot of people don't do it, but they know that it's necessary, right? So you want to pay yourself first. You want to decide where your money goes. You want to make sure that the first 12%, if it is possible, if you're much younger, you want to make sure that 12% of your income goes towards investing. If you're slightly older, that works if you're in the 20s, but if you're slightly older in the 30s, 40s, you have to do more. You have to figure out how to do more, because when you invest, it grows. And when it grows, it compounds over time. And when it compounds over time, it builds slowly and surely towards your freedom. It doesn't matter if it's $50. It doesn't matter if it's $100. It doesn't matter if it's $200. Just make sure you pay yourself first automatically. Now it's important to understand that the fourth decision you need to make. What skill are you improving on? I want you to pay very close attention to this. What skill are you working on and improving on? Because we live in a time of skill and output. That's the economy we live in. It's all about the skills you have and how those skills can translate into results for either yourself, for your company, or for your employer, or for your business if you have a business of your own, or if you are an employee and you have a business, which is great too. What skills are you improving on? What skills are you working on? Are you working on improving skills that are tied to the things you're doing? If you're working in the job, how are you improving in that job? How are you counting to get a promotion? How are you counting to increase your output and your contribution? Do you know how to even show what your contribution is? Do you know how to demonstrate to your manager when you're asking for a pay raise why you deserve a pay raise? Can you logically, factually, and objectively show numbers that indicate your direct influence in the output for that department or for your company or for your employer? If you don't know how to do that, then learn that skill. Because when we talk about skills here, people think it's some of the largest skills. Go learn some IT skill. Go. No, even the small skills. Do you know how to express yourself properly? Should I meet you somewhere, shake your hand, and ask you, what do you do? Do you know how to take a minute, less than a minute, and tell me in 2 sentences what you do? If you're trying to sell an idea, you're trying to sell a book, you're trying to sell something you've made, do you know how to sell that? Do you understand the process of selling? Do you understand how to use AI, not as a sophisticated AI expert, but just using AI to better yourself in your job? Do you know how to go and ask something like ChatGPT, something like Claude? All of these are actually, research tools and things like that that you can use. Do you know how to ask them, how can I be better at my job? You give your job title, you give your experience level, you say the things you aspire to become, or ask them to tell you what is possible in your job. You can even upload your skills, what you know how to do right now. If you have some results with those skills, upload it. Ask it if it can give you direction on how to become more efficient, become better, and become more productive. So that way you can have a pay raise, you can get a promotion, and you can do whatever. You can even ask ChatGPT, you can ask Claude, how do I use my experience and my skills as a 20-year experienced nurse, as a 20-year experienced IT person, as a 20-year experienced lawyer? How do I use those skills I have? Look at the skills and tell me what entrepreneurial venture I can start doing along with my full-time job, which is helping me to strengthen my skills, bring in additional revenue, and can help me in the future to transition into as a full-time position. Have you even developed the skill of thinking? We usually don't think about thinking as a skill. I never used to be. I am blessed with a lot of things, but one of the things I was always challenged with is deep thinking, especially on things that I don't enjoy. The things I enjoy: inspiration, motivation, financial planning, wealth building, legacy planning. I can spend 2 hours thinking about those things and thinking deep. But there are some things I really don't enjoy, but it is important, like accounting. Not like an accounting, but just understand how to run your personal accounts, how to understand where money goes, all those kind of things. I forced myself to do that. My wife was far better than me. She was more disciplined with money. She knows how to put money into envelopes and spend only the amount of money that needs to be spent. Those things were challenging for me. And one of the way I walked through that challenge was first to automate stuff. Because when I automate things, what happens is that the money disappears before I see it. And if I don't see it, I cannot spend it. There's no money. That's how it works, guys. But you will not understand those answers until you also learn the skill of thinking, the skill of sitting still for 30 minutes without touching your phone, without watching TV, just thinking and reviewing and just meditating. All of these skills are part of what develops you. And here is the interesting thing. You will not realize it, but you will slowly start compounding. It will slowly start becoming a habit. It will slowly start becoming something that you don't only enjoy, but you cannot do without, because it is part of you. And so every day you improve. Because when you ask yourself a basic question, if your job disappeared in 18 months or you got fired 18 months from today, what skill carries you? What skill will carry you? What skill can you leverage in, in 6 months while you're looking for another job? What skill is that? What skill can you bring to the marketplace? Right? You certainly have those skills. And now, but you haven't spent time to identify them. When you identify them, then you can start fine tuning them as you get along with whatever else you're doing. You must understand that days like Sunday are days of preparation. These are days when you prepare. These are days when you strategically think. That is why I say don't waste your Monday. Sorry, don't waste your Sunday, right? These are days when you work on yourself, knowing that if you're an employee or even if you have a business, but mostly if you're an employee, a cross section of your week will be given to your employer. What is it that you are giving to your own self? How are you building yourself? How are you fine tuning yourself? How are you strategically working to try to position yourself in the top percentile of your industry? That is how it goes. The reason I spend time every day, 2 hours at least, I must read a book. I spend at least another 2 to 3 hours listening to relevant podcasts. The reason is I want to be I want to be in the top percentile of the industry I'm in. And for me to do that, I have to continue to improve myself. I have to continue to learn. I have to continue to subconsciously imbibe this information. And when I take this information now, I can retain about 30% of that information, right? Now, when I talk about the information, I can retain about 60% of that information. Now, when I'm teaching that information, like I'm teaching to you now, I can retain about 80% of that information. And that is how it continues to compound. That's how subconsciously it comes alive anytime I need it. So you should identify that skill for yourself. Decide what skill am I going to improve on. Don't take too many at once. Just take one thing. Don't be in a rush. Just take one thing. If it is AI skills, just say, I want to improve my understanding of AI. Don't worry yet about the skills, just an understanding. What does AI mean to me relative to the work I do? Take that for this week as a challenge and go implement. And next week, come back and tell me what you found out. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. AI is going to be a big part of the now and the future. It has to be. It must be. You must include that in your plan, because if you don't have that in your plan, it is going to be a big problem. Don't forget that job security has all of a sudden become job insecurity. Companies are no longer guaranteeing jobs. Companies no longer want long-term employment. Companies are giving contract positions now because they want you to be fired anytime they don't need you. You know why? They don't want to keep anybody on their payroll for too long because they don't know what is happening in the next few months. AI is coming to take efficiencies up. And what that will do is that they might not need as many people in the same role. Let me give you a simple statistic here. This is the recent major layoffs in 2026 already. UPS, the company UPS that distributes and delivers parcels, has laid off 78,000 people just in 2026. Meta, that is a mother company of Facebook, Instagram, which you are watching me on right now, have laid off 21,000 employees. Google, 12,000. Microsoft has laid off 10,000 plus. Apple, 600. Intel, 15,000. Salesforce, 8,000. Cisco, and this is just in the technology company, guys. So if you really are serious about where you're trying to go with your life, if you're serious about building that legacy, if you're serious about making sure that you become unfireable, and by the way, I'll be doing a live stream this week. I'm not sure, one of these days. I do a live stream every night, but one of the live streams this week is going to be how to make yourself unfireable, how to AI proof your career. I'll be teaching on some of the techniques and strategies on how to make yourself impossible to fire and how to make yourself stand on the side of AI so that way anything that happens, you are still going to thrive. Don't miss that live and don't miss the live every day. And by the way, if you're just hopping on, make sure you share this video, guys. Make sure you share this, guys. Put a comment, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're watching, all right? Leave a comment, let me know where you're watching from. And if you have a question, please feel free to drop that. Big shout out to my man. Hey, Uncle Beno. That's my brother here in Austin, Texas, a very dynamic man, an entrepreneur, a healthcare professional, but most importantly, a community builder. Uncle Beno, nice to have you on the live stream tonight, man. I know we still owe ourselves a live show, but we're going to catch up with that. Guys, so it's important to understand, right? That's the fourth decision. What skill are you going to be improving on? You have to remember Sunday is all about preparation and Monday is execution. Statistics show that 80% of all heart attacks happen on Monday mornings. You know why? Between 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning. I believe because a lot of people are going to jobs they hate. Well, jobs are important, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people actually are heading out without even preparing for the week. Because if you've prepared, if you continue to prepare, you have a good plan. You are working on the different things that align with the things you want. Even when you're going to a job, you know that that is not all about your life. If it's a job you don't like, right? If it's one you love, fantastic. It means you've hit the jackpot. But most people work in jobs they don't like. But if that's what you don't like, but you know that you're working on other things that are going to come together to help you be able to make that job now optional, you no longer feel as more stressful as somebody who necessarily, doesn't have a build up for that possibility. You need to understand all these things, guys. The world in which we are living today is no longer that world where you can just sit back, roll your sleeves, and relax with a beer. It's a world where you have to continue to be proactive. You have to continue to be trying to stay ahead of the curve because the technological advancements that are happening, the human advancements that are happening, right? Nobody knows where that is going to settle in. Now, let's talk about the fifth decision. Decide on one legacy action you want to take this week. Just one legacy action. And when I talk about legacy action, if you didn't watch my last live stream on Friday, I talked extensively about why legacy is important, how determining your legacy can actually help you achieve all the things you aspire for in your life, how it clarifies your vision, it gives you the things to focus on, how it helps you build wealth, how it helps you build a successful life that you can feel proud and content of at the end. So, in this coming week, the number 5 decision you have to make is the one legacy action you want to take during the week. That one action that contributes in the bigger frame of your legacy. Is that action calling your parents? That's a legacy action. You see, one of the things that has been happening of late, I've noticed, especially in this time and age, a lot of children judge their parents. A lot of children complain about their parents. I know a lot of my adult friends, they will always tell you one thing or the other. Oh, my dad didn't do this, my mother didn't do that, my father this, my mother. No. Guys, if you're one of those, let me give you an honest, fair, and brotherly, unsolicited advice. Stop it. Stop it. You know why? Because unless you are given my circumstances under which I made certain decisions at a certain point, my children can never understand and it's impossible to judge. That's the reality of the matter, right? Number 2, a big part of your legacy will be pulled inspiration based from the way you perceive your parents. If you perceive your parents as winners, you will be inspired more to want to win. If you perceive your parents as losers, you know what? You'll be inspired more to compete with them. You'll be inspired more to judge them. And by doing so, you are subconsciously positioning yourself for lethargy and judgment in the future. I need you to understand this. So make one of your legacy decisions, maybe just calling your parents up. Is the legacy decision this week opening an investment account? 75% of African immigrants coming into America own a savings account, but they don't own any asset. An average African immigrant saves 4 times more than this, 5 times. 4 times more than the average saving rates of Americans. But an average African immigrant invests 5 times less. The concept of assets is not yet fixed in our minds. Are you opening an investment account this week? Are you making that decision to finally start investing? Which is the best, the number one, and most likely one of the most surest ways to build wealth is investing on the stock market. And by the way, I have a seminar coming up on the 26th of February, and it's going to be talking about things like this. I'm going to be helping everyday people like you gain clarity, teach you strategies, give you working plans that you can take out of that seminar, start implementing, and in 90 days, you are going to see a difference in your financial life. By the way, I'm not a certified financial advisor. So everything I tell you is education, all right? I'm not guaranteeing any returns. As you know, investment carries risk. But let me tell you something. Through my own journey, over 12 years of investing, through losing on the market before finally understanding how investing works, I am going to cut your mistake propensity by 90%. You don't need to go through the same pain to get yourself aligned, but you need to understand that everything you are doing, if you're not investing in assets, in things that can multiply on their own while you go to sleep, know that you are going to end up broke and a failure. Because your body can only go so far, right? So make that decision if you haven't made it to open an investment account. If you need help with all of those things, hop onto that webinar. If you don't have time to come to the webinar, look down in the description of this video on my YouTube channel. You'll see a link. Book a one-on-one call. Let's have a conversation so that I can help your specific situation. I can give you some specific ideas, give you specific strategies. We can work on your situation and come out with a clear plan for you, which you implement. You will see the results a lot of clients, a lot of people who've come to me see. Right? The third decision you might look at, having those tough money conversations with your partner, with your spouse, with your child, whoever is part of your inner family. Are you making a decision this week to start working on that gift of yours? Are you making a decision this week to start that business that you've been dreaming about starting for years? Are you making a decision to start a family? Whatever it is, all of these are things that affect and tie into your legacy. So you have to make a legacy decision. Because you must understand something. Legacy is not built in a moment of inspiration. It is built in weekly decisions you make. Daily and weekly decisions. It's a cumulative, compounding, building of future things. That's how legacies are built. Legacies are never built in a simple moment of inspiration. It's built with continuous decisions over time. And when you decide, you take action on those things. Because you must remember that tomorrow is not just about hustle. It's actually about alignment, recentering yourself, aligning with that plan. You don't drift into wealth. You don't drift into a positive legacy. You decide your way into it. It doesn't happen by happenstance. It happens by a conscious internal decision you are going to make. You don't stumble into your legacy. You structure it. And for a lot of people, that structure is what is lacking. Your ideas floating all over your head. You have some ideas, some you don't have. You get distracted. You want to work on it. You get distracted. It was tough for me to get up and come to this live stream today. If I was only counting on how I felt, I would not have been talking to you right now. But because I have worked my mind, I have worked my subconscious, I've worked my spirit, I've worked my emotions to automate these behaviors. I know that every night I just have to do a live stream. Whether I'm happy, I'm not happy, whether I feel like it, I don't feel like it, whether there's a football game going on, whether I don't care what is happening, I have to do it. Because I know that that is a legacy action. What a legacy action is an action that doesn't deliver results in the meantime, but will deliver results in years to come. But if you don't do it now, those results will not come. That's what legacy actions are. Legacy actions is like you are driving a car in a foggy evening on a long stretch of road. You can only see 1 foot in front of you. But as you cover that first foot, then you see the second foot. As you cover the second foot, then you see the third foot. Just like that. You cannot see the 1 mile road in front of you. You can only see it as you get into it. You see the next foot as you get into it. That is how legacy actions are. Once you decide those things that are legacy actions in your life, that are things that will determine and define your life, the way you lived and the way you leave this world, then you make decisions on how to do those things. Because, like I said, you don't stumble into it. You structure your way into it. You act into it. You plan into it. And you organize yourself into it. And I want to reassure you, wherever you are with your life right now, it's still possible. Don't fall into the trap of feeling like you're behind. Yes, you might be behind. It doesn't mean you can still not end in front. Don't fall into the trap of feeling like you can't do nothing about it because there is so many things. Pick one at a time and start with it. Just one. I remember an interview of Will Smith I watched many years ago. And in that interview, I think it was an Oprah show. Or no, this lady on MSNBC, Helen DeGeneres. It was the Helen DeGeneres show. And he mentioned the fact that every day he runs 10 miles a day. And he started that habit when he was acting, it was in Men in Black or some movie like that. He had to buff himself up. I think it's Ali. No, it's Ali, the movie about Muhammad Ali. He had to buff himself up. He had to build muscles. He had to build endurance. So he got into the habit of running after that movie because he had to be running to prepare himself for that movie. And since then, he runs 10 miles a day. And Helen DeGeneres asked him, how do you do it? It's tough to really run 10 miles because that should be about an hour plus. How do you keep your mind focused? He says, you know what? He doesn't even look in front to the stretch of road he has to run. He focuses his mind on the ground, and all he keeps telling himself, one more step, one more step, one more step, one more step. And I learned that technique from him. And I've used that in my own life. My daughter goes to school about 5 miles from our home. And she goes to school early in the morning. She doesn't use the bus. So I have to drop her in school. So most of the days, I drop her in school. I leave my car in their school and I walk back home 5 miles. And then I am forced to walk back again to their school to go pick her and my car. So whether I like it or not, I am forced to go get her from school. And because I'm forced to go get her from school, I end up putting 5 to 10 miles a day. I don't know if I make sense here, guys. And when I'm doing that walk, all I am doing that walk, I'm just telling myself one more step. It's not fun. It's not the nicest thing to do. It's not like I'm pumped up. I'm going to walk. I'm happy to go. No, it's not fun. It's not. I have to be honest with you. But I know that it's part of my legacy because if I don't do that, then I cannot build the strength I need in terms of my physical endurance. Then I cannot be in good health. Then I cannot work the way I want to work. Then I cannot be strong enough to deliver live streams every day. I cannot be strong enough to build the media business I'm building. I cannot be strong enough to leave the legacy I aspire to leave. I cannot be strong enough to touch 1 billion people with my messages as my goal, my dream, my prayer to God has always been. All of these things now are going to hinge on that. Like most people, of course, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'7", I'm 6'5", 270 pounds, and I have a big appetite. So it's a struggle not to eat all the kind of foods I like. I come from Cameroon. We cook all kinds of great food. My wife is a great cook. My sisters cook so well. So I'm used to good food. My mother was a great cook before she died young. So I'm used to. So it's a conscious effort for me not to eat the way my mind and my body tells me to eat. I have to force myself to regulate myself to say, okay, Gustav, listen, the only way you can do this thing, you have to get yourself into something called intermittent fasting. What that means is I make a decision. I say in the 24-hour day, I give myself a 6-hour window. In those 6-hour windows, I have to eat. And in those 6-hour windows, I try to eat everything that accumulates to not more than 3,000 calories. But I don't go counting like it has to be very strict, but I just tell myself I eat between 2 p.m. in the afternoon and 6 and 8 p.m. at night. I try to eat in that window. And then now, from 8 p.m. at night till 2 p.m. the next day, I don't. It helps my body. It helps reset my body. You can go research it. Intermittent fasting. It's another very powerful strategy, right? I am not perfect at it, but it's a work in progress. And sometimes I fall behind, but I keep waking up, dusting my butt, and pushing forward. Because that is the story of this life. That is the story of the 5 decisions I've talked to you tonight. Why it is important, right? Because if you win your decisions tonight, you win your week. If you win your week, you most likely will win your month. When you win your month, you will win the next month because you start winning the next week and you win the week after that and you win that month. And by the time you know it, you are winning the year. And by the time you know it, you are winning another year. And by the time you know it, it has become an integral part of your subconscious and your life. And if you win enough weeks, then you change your life. Yes, you win enough weeks, you change your life. All the things that have changed in my life significantly, and I've seen significant progress in it, I kept doing them for a while, and then it became automatic. And then I started noticing the difference. For a time, I was a heavy smoker. Yes, I was. There were times I would smoke more than a pack a day. I'd lost my dad. I was a little stressed from that. It was not, I was going through some difficult moments in my life. But that was, of course, not the best coping mechanism. But I was smoking. But you know what? I struggled a few times to stop, struggled. My wife would get angry, frustrated, all that stuff. Nobody could stop me. I am the only person who could decide when enough was enough. And one time I watched a program by Joel Austin. And Joel Austin talked about a guy who was struggling with smoking addiction. And this guy, every day while he was smoking, he would be telling God that, God, I know I'm still smoking, but I know that one day soon, your grace will touch me and I'll be strong enough to make a decision and never go back on that decision. And that's what happened to me. I'm not saying this for storytelling. I'm not saying this to impress nobody. I'm telling you about my life. I'm not saying this for likes or for garner popularity. No, none of that. I'm just telling you how these things work in life. And I made the decision. I kept making it. Even when I failed, I kept making it. And one day I made that decision. And you know what? Day 1, I kept going. Day 2, I kept going. Day 3, of course, the urge is there, because if you know how the human body works, one of the hardest things in this life to abandon is an addiction. Whether it's for cigarette, whether it's for drugs, whether it's for sugar, the number one addictive drug on earth is not even cocaine or cigarette, it's sugar. The world is addicted to sugar. That's one of the greatest causes of obesity and all the different health problems we have today in the world, and mostly in America, right? So I kept going. I kept going. Every day I get the temptation, I struggle, I play music, I do different things to distract my mind. And finally, I abandoned that addiction. And it's been over a year today, I haven't smoked a single stick of cigarette. There were even times I tried myself, I tested myself. I'll see my friends smoking, I'll take a stick and try to smoke to see how whether it feels good. And it didn't feel good no more, because I had moved away from that season. Right? So it's important to understand that when you win enough decisions, then you win enough weeks. And when you win enough weeks, then you start changing your life. My goal today is to give you these practical steps, these practical strategies. If you're joining the live call late, you can go back and watch it again. It will be on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, right? And let me tell you something. Once you win with some of these disciplines, you are also going to win with the discipline on your money. You are going to win with the discipline on investing. You are going to win with the ability to go one step at a time. And if you're serious about gaining clarity around your money, if you are intentional about wanting to build wealth and a life of abundance and structuring a real legacy blueprint, I want you to join me on the 26th of February, because I'll be having a webinar like no other from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern Time. The Clarity, Wealth, and Legacy Blueprint webinar. It's a very small investment you have to make. Nothing much. Just go ahead in the description of this video. I'm going to leave a link. Click on that link and you'll be able to go ahead and subscribe and secure your seat. Right? But it's important to understand that these are opportunities for you to upgrade yourself. If you are not upgrading yourself, know that you're being downgraded. That's just how the world is today. We are past the time in this world where companies just used to keep people employed who are doing nothing and keep paying them. Companies are becoming more and more efficient. A company like Amazon has laid off close to 130,000 people over the last 3 years. But do you know what? Their earnings per worker has increased by 3 because it's becoming more efficient. They don't need as many people to do the same amount of work anymore. So you must understand you are really in an era where competition matters. And competition is not a bad thing. Competition is the only thing that forces human beings to improve. If there's nothing you're competing against, you're not going to get motivated to get better with yourself. So understand that what you used to call job security is no longer job security. Your number one way to hedge your risk against all the uncertainty is to make sure that you continuously understand how to invest, how to build wealth, how to invest in assets that grow over time. Because you must remember, wealth is not built overnight. Wealth is not built with a single action. It is built by a combination of consistency, persistence, time, compounding, and your commitment to continue to do it, whether you feel like it or not, whether you want to or not, whether your emotions are dwindling or not. That is the only way forward. Guys, it's a great joy having each and every one of you tonight, hanging out with me. I know it's a Sunday night. I certainly don't want to keep you too long. I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you have a blessed evening, a blessed week ahead. Don't only listen to the strategies I talk about, make sure you implement them. Choose one or two and implement them. If you didn't watch the video, go back and watch it from the start. Take a pen and a paper, take down some notes. That's how you learn. I always have notepads around me. Let me show you, even in my own life, even at this point, I always have notepads around me, taking notes all the time. Listen, I use this one to take notes about investing. This is the book I use to decide on what stocks to invest in, what companies. I do my analysis, right? This one is a book I used to write quotes in it. If I see any interesting quote, I see interesting and unusual ideas, I see ideas that are revolutionary and life-breaking, I write them in this book. You see that? And when I bring these ideas to you, sometimes it blows your mind. You're wondering, Mesa, Gustav, where did you get this from? Because I read. I intentionally educate myself. I force myself to learn these things. And when I learn them, I don't listen like just listening on a video. When I'm listening, I have a pen and a paper. I hear anything interesting, I write it down, right? And let me just give you a quote from that. Let me give you a quick quote from one of them, right? And this one is from my great Les Brown. He says, there is no secret to success. There is only a system to success. There is no secret to success. There's only a system. So anybody who tells you there's a secret, there's no secret. There are only systems. And these are the systems I'm teaching you. These are the systems I'm going to be teaching in the webinar on the 26th. That's why you have to be part of it. Because rich people plan for 3 generations. Poor people plan for Saturday night. But the most wealthy plan for eternity. And eternity by this is legacy. But see something, and this one is Jim Rohn who said it. If you care at all, you will get some results. If you care enough, you can get extraordinary results. I can go on and on, right? Let me find another interesting one for you. It says, change is hard in the beginning, messy in the middle, but gorgeous at the end. And you have to remember, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. And when you die, you'll be rejoicing while the world is crying. Because you were born looking like your parents, but you will die looking like your decisions. Guys, Have a wonderful night. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight, of course. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am this close to 2,000 subscribers. Guys, I'm very, very close. Help me cross that threshold, right? If you haven't even subscribed, click the like on my YouTube channel, click the thumbs up so that the algorithm is going to move the video further. If you're on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. Make sure to share this video, leave a comment. Let me know some of the other things you would like me to talk about. There's a lot, right? But I just want to make sure I'm able to serve you. I want to make sure I deliver things that gives you value. So always feel free to let me know in the comment section some topics, some specific things you always would like me to talk about, right? But in the meantime, I want to remind you that it doesn't matter where you were born or where you grew up. It doesn't matter the circumstances of your upbringing. It doesn't matter who spoke upon your life or what things that happen in your life try to trick you into believing that you're not smart, you're not intelligent, you're not strong, you're not capable, and you cannot deliver on your destiny and become somebody of meaning in this life. I want to tell you it's a lie because you're intelligent, you're strong, you're smart. You are destined to do significant and meaningful things. And you know what? You are enough. So as you get out there today, I want you to be well. I want you to be blessed. And by all means, never forget to be a blessing to somebody. And until the next time, I will see you in the next stream tomorrow. Bye for now.